Trying to beat you up. Come downstairs. You know you in front of the courthouse trying to act like you're tough. Like, yeah, stop. Yeah, let's go around the corner. Let's go around the corner. Come on, let's go. Trying to beat you up. Turn around. Like your mother's ugly? Turn around. Like your mother's ugly?
Same thing.
Oh, okay.
Same thing.
Oh, okay.
Just watch.
Yeah, okay. We could test her right now. Right now, ugly. Everything. Oh, you thought you was gonna see something ugly, bitch. You wasn't. But you wasn't.
No makeup.
But you wasn't. Same here. You see what's up? Same here. You see what's up? Oh, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep your wigs on because the courtroom not only became hot but also chaotic. Have you ever seen a rapper cry real tears while their man confronts them? Yes, that just happened. The self-described Bronx bombshell, Remy Ma, is now the one begging for sympathy, and not from the judge, but from her own husband, Papoose. The cyclist who once labeled flops and jail bids simply entered the witness box for her. We should add that loyalty left. Hold on though, because things get worse. We're talking about Remy just losing it in a fit of rage, security dragging people out, and people yelling matches in the hallway. As he watched everything happen as though he had a front row seat at Summer Jam. Jasmine Dior, naturally,
like, miss, where's your remorse? Like, where's your sorriness? Where's your sadness? Like, at the end of the day, I don't care what I go through with nobody. I would never want to see nobody die. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like, bitch, nobody did nothing to you, you fucking gremlin. And you really acting like you mad about something. Ice grilling somebody, ugly ass. Then you acting tough in front of a courthouse like, bitch, we're gonna go to jail. You've been to jail before, I'm sure you don't want to go back, bitch. Like, what are we doing here? Come around the corner. You're really not fucking tough. Like, bitch is mad pussy. Like,
Remy's son's daughter was murdered by the accused. Describe the secrets that Papoose revealed. Why did Remy mutter, "I knew this day would come," and why are so many people predicting that this trial would not only damage her family? Sweetheart, get your popcorn. This isn't a trial. It's a takedown, and it's just getting started. Now, boom. As a proud ride-or-die mother standing behind her kid, Remy Ma thought she was walking into a courtroom. But what had she entered? Oh, that was a pre-made collapse in a broadcast. Because when that judge called Papoose to the stand, he actually stood up, and jaws dropped more powerfully than Ray's most recent mixtape. Additionally, she was restrained by this same man during her 6-year prison term. The same man who visited her frequently, wrote love poems, and helped her through her worst hours. In the present, he is testifying for the prosecution. You could hear Remy's soul leaving her body when her name was called. When she blinked once more, saying, "Wait for him," everything began to go wrong. The security level rose. The cameras swiveled in closer. Reporters started. The image of Papoose walking to the witness box, expressionless and unmoving, was the last betrayal plot twist that nobody had anticipated. Or did they? Let's return. If you get to the mess late, here's the tea. Remy Ma's son Jason J. Scott is currently on trial for the shooting death of Darius Gielbo, a businessman, parent, and allegedly someone who knew too much. The alleged murder took place in Queens in 2021, but the case didn't blow up until recently. Why? Because of the new digital unexpectedly, there was evidence, GPS pings, phone logs, and even unidentified video footage. Who helped the dog get those files? Do you think? That part, indeed. Rumor has it that Papoose have been working covertly together for months in the courthouse corridors. He has provided location information, verified timelines, and even shed light on behavioral patterns that prosecutors claim show Remy was complicit in the crime's cover-up. We'll let you decide whether that is true or just some spicily worded legal fiction. But let's be honest. If your spouse, who knows your calendar better than you do, begins sharing it with people who are trying to lock up your child, isn't that betrayal on a whole other level? The courtroom was packed. Journalists, influential people, and competitors from high school who only wanted to see her fail. Everyone was there. Even Fat Joe briefly stuck his head in, but he quickly left when everything got too congested. As soon as Papoose lifted his hand to swear in, you could sense the temperature shift. Someone appeared to have turned off Remy's internal playlist. She muttered a few words. Why? Remy couldn't finish because the victim's daughter, Jasmine Dior, was sitting in the front row, staring down at her like the antagonist in a Tyler Perry finale. Not to be overlooked is Jasmine Dior's identity. She has been vocal from the start, calling for her father to receive justice and denouncing corporate cover-ups in cryptic messages. But today she brought fire. As soon as she started speaking, Papoose grinned, raised her chin, and pulled out a notepad. She wasn't only there to observe, according to rumors. She was expecting a tantrum, but it didn't happen. Papoose began his testimony in a calm and composed manner. No sentiments, just facts. Or the facts, as he put it. Yes. I was home that night when Jace got home. Yes. Reminisce was aware of the conflict. Earlier in the day, something had happened. Yes. I instructed both of them to remain silent until legal counsel could be found. Wait, what? The magistrate leaned forward, as if reality had finally slammed her in the chest. Remy screamed loudly, and the DA smiled because of what Papoose had just said on the record, accusing her of obstructing justice. Not just bad parenting, not just a fraud for her son, but downright deceit. She tried to rise up and whisper something to her lawyer, but the judge's gesture for silence intensified the situation. In the courtroom across from her, she allegedly mouthed, "You promised me." He just glanced down and didn't even react. Then the real dagger showed up. Papoose claims that a week after the murder, Remy Ma allegedly gave $20,000 to an unnamed individual involved in the Gielbo case. Implied are hush money, diversion money, and damage control money. No one said it out loud, but the suggestion lingered. Like cheap perfume, Jasmine Dior suddenly sprang up and cried, "Tell them about the burner phone, Papoose." Security rushed to the scene, and the entire courtroom went wild. Individuals shouted. Cameras clicked as though they were machine guns. Remy, she didn't move either. She sat still, her hands clutched, her eyes wide open, like she had just seen a ghost. The court then proclaimed a recess. People left in a hurry. Reporters ran to call their editors. Remy Ma then slumped back in her chair. Breathing is impossible. Couldn't get himself to cry. I just sat there, heartbroken. But the drama didn't stop there. Oh no! The hallway turned into a battleground. When security brought Remy Ma out, Jasmine Dior made sure to follow her. According to witnesses, Jasmine yelled, "Your son took my father. Now your husband's taking your legacy." Remy spun around. For a split second, it looked like she was ready to throw hands, but instead she whispered something chilling. "This isn't over. You think this is justice? Watch what happens next." And just when we thought it couldn't get any messier, one of the reporters, allegedly from an online gossip blog, cut audio of Remy on the phone right after stepping outside. She was screaming, "Tell my lawyer to pull every email, every message. If he wants war, he can have it." According to rumors, this whole problem goes beyond a mere betrayal of family. There are rumors of underground TIs, sealed records, and more. The key question is, who is she referring to? Papoose? The DA? Or someone higher up? The internet is in a downward spiral, with fans wondering who this man is, why she left so quickly, and most importantly about that moment she switched sides. In the midst of the chaos outside the courthouse, an unmarked black SUV with tinted windows and no license plates pulled up, and a tall man in a gray suit emerged. Remy Ma immediately recognized him, stopped in the middle of her sentence. Her face turned pale, and she got into the car and disappeared without a word. Payments linked to industry executives are circulating, and some believe that this trial could be the beginning of a much larger takedown that would rock the hip-hop world from the ground up. A few hours later, a leaked audio recording that was allegedly taken from inside that very SUV by an anonymous driver who, let's face it, was probably paid off by someone with way too much time and not enough morals hit the blogosphere like a nuclear bomb. In the clip, Remy Ma is heard saying, "He's not going to ruin me." She vanishes from the public eye for more than 5 hours, and there are no phone calls, Instagram stories, or even a vague tweet. And if you thought Papoose's testimony was betrayal, the plot just exploded. Now, who exactly is he? The internet went into full meltdown mode at that point. Some claim she was referring to Papoose, while others say it was a direct reference to her son, Jace, and the tinfoil hat community. Oh, they think she meant an exact tie to a label dispute back in 2020. The night after the murder, he allegedly borrowed Remy's laptop to send a verse to a producer, but instead of finding a beat folder, he found a zip file called Perved Evidence J. Curiosity destroyed the trust because it contained audio messages, screenshots, and what appeared to be transaction logs, possibly related to hush payments made to a woman who was allegedly an eyewitness that night in Queens. What's even stranger is that one of the messages was titled, "Tell Jace to stay low." Now, I know what you're thinking. Has any of this been verified? Obviously not. That is the allure of information leaks. However, the blogs exploded. This decade, the word Perved Evidence J trended more than any of Ray's hits. Jasmine Dior, meanwhile, was not slowing down back at the courthouse. In front of a sizable audience of fans, she went live on Instagram and declared, "This is greater than this is about the truth," Mike said, "and I can tell you, Dad, that they tried to buy my silence, but they couldn't." After that, she produced what she said was the burner phone. It was the same one she'd yelled at in court. And you know what? Voicemails were on it. Specifically, one was chilling. "They can't link it to Jace," said a garbled voice that was thought to be Remy Ma. "Gloves were on him. You are aware of that." The audience was taken aback. There is a battleground in the comment section. However, it's important to keep in mind that Papoose hasn't yet denied any leaks. Some fans began criticizing Remy, saying, "This isn't the woman we rode for during that jail argument." Others claimed that the phone was planted, that Jasmine Dior was being used, and that Remy was being framed. In fact, 2 weeks ago, Papoose gave the DAW a backup drive. Yeah, a backup drive labeled Rem for you. That's either a digital dagger or a breakup gift, depending on your point of view. Speaking of betrayal, what about the people Remy once called friends? Fat Joe posted a vague statement on Twitter that read, "I pray for all involved," according to a courthouse assistant who spoke to a gossip blog under a false identity. Not all wounds heal. What? Is that a negative hip-hop code for her? Fans seem to have interpreted it that way. Nicki Minaj sent a single unicorn emoji with a scale emoji in the meanwhile, with no context or caption, just shade. The Barbs, of course, loved it. Later that same evening, 3 major hip-hop news pages received a blurry security camera clip from a gas station dated the night of the murder, showing a black SUV registered to Papoose parked next to a car that looked like the one Jace was allegedly driving. Now, let's pause. Did Papoose know about the murder before it even happened? Did he witness it or, worse, help them escape? And here's where it gets complicated. A voice on the video says, "Tell your pops to turn the dashcam off." At 11:47 p.m., just minutes before the gunshots that killed Darius Gilbo were reported, Papoose's halo started to slip. Some believe he flipped to save himself, while others believe he was attempting to clean up his mess before the feds arrived. In any case, Remy, she's not just angry. She's ready to burn the planet to the ground. She's not alone, though, as another insider who claims to have worked PR for Remy's team back in 2019 said she's preparing a sealed countersuit against the city as well as Papoose. Sponsors have started to back out of her projects. A sneaker collaboration has been postponed, and her scheduled podcast relaunch has been scrubbed from the network site. One label executive even leaked that Love and Remy, a reality spin-off series in the works, is on indefinite pause due to legal sensitivities. To make matters worse, just before the courthouse closed for the evening, a large delivery van pulled up, and a representative from a luxury florist with a huge bouquet for Jasmine Dior. The card for your strength is anonymous, but there are rumors that the handwriting matches Papoose. While everyone else in the courtroom was busy with testimony and screaming matches, Remy Ma's lawyer discreetly handed the envelope to the judge's clerk. What was inside? No one knows, but a court sketch artist claims to have seen the words "for your eyes only" printed in red on the front. Drama check, intrigue double check. The envelope reportedly sparked an emergency conference call between the judge, the DA, and Ray's defense team. After the meeting, all further witness testimony was put on hold for 48 hours, and just when you thought it couldn't get any wilder, a former producer from Remy's past appeared with an enigmatic video. She continued talking about loose ends and was in a frenzy, and I only now realized what she meant. Clout chasing. Acknowledged. In any case, is it being consumed by the internet? You're aware already. Public pressure is now increasing. While Remy followers, the Remy Hive, have begun trending #Free Remy Ma again, protesters outside the courthouse are demanding justice for Darius Gielbo. Justice is being demanded by one side, while setup is being demanded by the other. What about Jace? The individual at the center of it all has remained silent thus far. There has been no released video, no interviews, no jail notes, nothing. The guessing game continues until he talks or breaks, with some claiming he's making a bargain and others saying he's being shielded. The prosecution has recently subpoenaed Ray's private therapist, and the final testimony session before pre-verdict deliberations begin is the next day. Stop a violent act. If it's true, it's legal dynamite, not just terrible optics. Recap. Remy Ma just witnessed her entire life unravel more quickly than a lace front in a deluge. Her husband turned on her, her son faces life in jail, the public is split, and now her private therapist has been subpoenaed by the prosecution. Court insiders claim that the therapist was brought in to determine whether Remy Ma ever admitted to knowing about the murder in advance or, worse, whether she had planned a cover-up. She apparently made the gag. I think I could have prevented it. I advised Jace to be composed. I didn't anticipate it going that far. Boom. A heartfelt confession becomes an implicit admission of guilt with that one line. Like a disguised government agent, Jasmine Dior was shut in, taking notes. She had the same vitality as someone who had finally had the last laugh after too much hesitation. But hold on, things get messier. A bailiff hurried in with a sealed paper midway during the therapist's testimony, cutting it short. After opening it and reading it for roughly 15 seconds, the judge promptly recessed the court. Rumors started to circulate without any prior notice or justification. According to two unnamed sources, likely interns without non-disclosure agreements, the paper was a wiretap transcript, and Remy Ma's voice on that wire was crystal clear. It seems that the federal authorities had been pursuing her for months and had just chosen to play their final card. Remy can be heard saying during the conversation, "He will fold if they put too much pressure on him. This must be buried before it reaches the courtroom." The courtroom, the blogs, and the public had already made the connections, so she didn't name anyone. Then, as no one had anticipated, Papoose returned to the courtroom as a final rebuttal, not as a witness, and asked permission to make one more statement for the record. The room fell silent, and he stood up and, for the first time in the entire circus, became emotional. His voice cracked. "I loved that woman more than life. When no one else would support her, I did. However, I discovered that she had lied to me about things I had never consented to. I needed to accept what was correct. Jace wasn't innocent, but he wasn't the only one who should be held accountable, so he just sat down." Remy Ma got up, tried to speak, and then broke down in tears. The judge had to order a brief recess to give her time to gather herself, and her defense team pulled their final ploy, claiming that the wiretap was illegal and that it violated attorney-client privilege because it happened during a discussion about legal strategy. Nevertheless, the judge didn't buy it, denied the motion, and admitted that finally, the defense leaned heavily on sympathy, saying, "Yes, mistakes were made, but show us one parent who wouldn't move heaven and earth to protect their child." The prosecution didn't hold back during the closing statements, saying, "This isn't just a case of a mother defending her son. This is a case of deliberate manipulation, bribery, and obstruction of justice orchestrated by someone who thought fame made her untouchable. Don't punish a mother's fear." The internet held its breath. Conspiracy theories blazed on subreddits, and the jury returned in 3 hours. It was the quickest deliberation in the courthouse's history, and everyone braced for impact as the 4 members stood up and read the verdict. J. Scott was found guilty on all counts, Remy gasped, and Remy Ma was found guilty of accessory to murder. Not guilty, but guilty of obstruction of justice and tampering with evidence. Papoose closed his eyes and remained still, and the courtroom erupted again, but not in shock. Half of the room cheered, the other half sobbed, and Remy Ma, she yelled, "No, no!" as the judge ordered her to be held for sentencing. She collapsed again, just like on day one, but this time it was over. "I didn't win today," Jasmine Dior said outside the courthouse after he failed to respond. "I lost my father, but at least now someone finally paid the price. Oh no, there's still another twist. Just when you thought we were finished, I was trying to protect my baby, but it didn't matter. The cuffs came out, and her lawyers didn't even object." She turned to Papoose and sobbed as they released her, saying, "You are supposed to love me through anything." The driver of that black SUV, the same one in which Remy disappeared, is now missing. Disappeared without a trace. Delete the security footage, clean the apartment, and turn off the phone. Officials are calling it strange. Social media users are calling it suspicious. If it wasn't strange enough, a burner voicemail showed up on a hip-hop podcast late that night. This was never about Jace. Check the contracts. Follow the cash. The real power doesn't stand trial, stated a voice that was artificial. This trial has exposed much more than just a murder, and then it cut off, y'all. What is even happening anymore? So now we ask you, what do you think really happened? Was Remy Ma just a scared mother caught in a maelstrom of treachery and poor decisions? Or was she the mastermind of a cover-up that went completely out of control? Did Papoose do the right thing, or did he sell her out to save his own skin? And what about Jasmine Dior? Is she finally getting the justice her father deserved, or is she being used as a pawn in a much larger game? The internet, it's not letting this one go. So stay tuned, because sources say there's still more to come. More footage, more leaks, and maybe, just maybe, more arrests. Until then, leave your thoughts in the comments. Who do you believe? Was justice truly served? Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification. Remy Ma will be watching and spilling all the tea.